Well, welcome everyone to day number 2 of week number 2. You're once again back with Group A. And the second match is going to be between bScherm and glaba. And I for one am going to be curious to see if bScherm can be stopped to stop the extreme streak that the Fellowship is on by gathering all of those points. And to obviously see if Team Holy can fight their way back up into contention for second place, and maybe if they keep a streak going themselves, maybe for first place as well. But in order to figure that out, let's head into game number 1. And game number 1 is going to be on the map Ice Cold. With on the bottom left hand side, spawning with the red pieces, it is going to be bScherm. And with the blue pieces on the other side of the map, assuming that they're talking about some small lag spikes, hope that both of these will be okay during the match. It is going to be glaba. Now we have seen some interesting games from both of these players. glaba, I believe, in this first match was up against Holy... Or was he up against Hydra? Not entirely sure. I want to say... Couldn't have been Holy. Must have been Hydra. But it was a very nice, interesting one. Got a little bit too greedy. And now let's see if he has learned from his mistakes, or if he is once again going the greedy route. bScherm, on the other hand, is a steady player, starting off with a den over here. glaba finishing or starting his den just over 15 seconds later than our player with the red pieces. Which is interesting. His den, even though he created his house closer to his base, which would have allowed him to start the den sooner, you would assume, did not take advantage of that case. First wolf of bScherm is on a way. And yeah, glaba here also says just a little late on a building. And I assume that that would be the wolf den. Is it the workshop proxy? Well, yes, of course it is. bScherm obviously thinks that it is absolutely perfect because the Gatling guns apparently are quite scary. Even though, so far, workshops have not really worked in the favor of the people starting with them. So maybe a proxy would actually have a chance on a victory, but the basic workshop start, definitely not the case. First set of wolves will find each other in the base, bScherm just on a move command, while glaba was instantly getting the attacks in. A second wolf moving over a little bit to the side will decide to move back to the natural. Probably going to try and defend the worker, who's going to be making the natural base. Or actually, it's not a natural base, it's going to be a watchtower. I assume that the second worker being pulled is going to make the base instead. Having that said, a worker is a little bit late for glaba, but I assume that he might just go ahead and create an additional wolf with the extra money as well. And he will indeed. For some reason there are 3 workers here, probably just better be safe than sorry. He's going to go for a castle with a relatively forward position. I'm not entirely sure if that would be the best placement, but he needed to get the castle in. Because now it is at a similar timing than our player in the blue, who was a little bit later than necessary. bScherm not letting his workers mine at the main base, keeping them idle at the natural, will now just move them back. Watchtower is 3 seconds away from being finished, we'll just leave it be just in case. Does not want to finish this watchtower just in case it is not necessary. Might want to just cancel it once these wolves are pushed back. Or after the castle is going to be finished, he will use the same worker to finish the watchtower instead. But it does allow him some more variety and some more, what is it called, adjustability to his play style so far. Two wolves are getting low on health. This one wolf is just running around. Does see that there are a total of 4 wolves there right now. And definitely a little bit more of a tricky situation for bScherm to be in. Does not produce any more units. Does think that he is safe enough. So he cancelled his watchtower and he's producing 2 more wolf dens in his base, while Glaba himself is getting a very early fortress. It's probably going to be a wolf and a dragon combination in this army. And with no snake charmer or advanced workshop from bScherm, there is nothing that he has against the air superiority that Glaba is going to try and achieve. Also with the cancelled watchtower, that is a perfect situation for Glaba to be in. Because there's absolutely nothing for bScherm that can attack the sky. In the meantime, as the attack over here is continuing to go on, the fortress is halfway done, and when it comes to the economy, Glaba is getting a very big lead because of the workers of bScherm are not really working. The defense so far, though, is pretty okay. A lot of wolves are on very low health. Glaba definitely needs to get out of there and allow the wolves to heal up a little bit. And especially at this point, bScherm's production is going to kick in massively. We'll be able to create 3 wolves at a time. So he is easily going to be able to overrun Glaba here, who only has 1 den. And kind of rightfully so, of course, as he was going for the fortress. Fortress finishes up. I think he might go for a double dragon lair. No, he's going for an additional wolf den. Wants to get some additional production in because he knows he's in a slight bit of a pickle here. bScherm, however, being supply blocked. With not supply blocked is Glaba indeed going for a double dragon lair. So this is going to be 2 dragons at a time, which is going to be a huge surprise for a boy in the red who's just producing more and more wolves. Seems like he's going to try and attempt to take a 3rd base, as Glaba is getting, or almost finishing, his 2nd den. There was no scouting from bScherm as his front wolf dies quite yet. He will have a wolf running in though, and that is not what Glaba likes to see. Is bScherm going to be able to actually get the distance? No, his wolf gets surrounded by the workers of Glaba. 0 scouting has been done. A very nice denial, keeping bScherm in the dark about these dragons. And there is nothing that Glaba has to worry about. Obviously, Glaba himself does not know that there is no 3rd. He does not know how many wolf dens there are. A 4th wolf den is under construction. I would really love to see a snake charmer for a boy in the red to at least get some kind of ranged DPS as well as just in case going to protect himself from some units in the sky, in addition to the ranged DPS. And it would be a little bit of a less heavy investment compared to, well, as another one of his wolves gets surrounded. Yeah, it would be a little bit less of an investment than an advanced workshop, so I don't think that it would be a bad idea. Wolves hustling a little bit in the front of the 2nd and 3rd base. Still no scout that the 3rd base has been completed. The first 2 dragons pop out and immediately go over to bScherm's base. And right now, he is indeed starting a snake charmer, but there is no knowledge of the dragons quite yet. He might think that because of the wolf count, there might be something fishy going on, but I highly doubt it. He knows that there is no 3rd base still. And maybe at this point, he can scout into the main base, and he will, but the first 2 dragons will enter the 3rd base and will go start to shoot down some of these workers. That is not what he likes to see, and also Glaba trying to surround all of these wolves does get surrounded himself a little bit. In the meantime, some of these workers are starting to go down. In the production are just 2 more dragons, once more. Enter the field, 2 more dragons in production. Still, wolves being produced as well. These dragons just instantly go for the base and go and try and take down all of the workers. So far, only 2 workers have been going down, but that is not something to worry about for Glaba, because these dragons can deal easy, free damage to all of these wolves, and this should be in Glaba's favor. Of course, bScherm can produce a lot of wolves, and he does have the overhand when it comes to the amount of wolves. It's 21 versus 13. But so far, 5 dragons and 6 dragons now are on the field. These snakes can do nothing against these dragons. The watchtower, though, is very nice in the main base. Will almost manage to get one dragon, but he really wants to not die to the wolf counter attack. And I think he won't. Even though there are 4 snakes being produced at a time, it is going to be very tough for a player in the red to hold this. This is a very nice counter-attack, though. There's nothing else that bScherm can do with the wolves at home, so might as well throw him into the base of your opponent. The workers, though, once again, are stronger than you expect, so I'm not entirely sure how much damage the wolves can actually do. This wolf is just sacrificing himself in the meantime. Still, 6 dragons ready to pounce. One more dragon trying to defend the main base. And another dragon is slowly being produced. The third base for Glaba is being constructed as well, while the third base of bScherm is going to be taken down. Wolves are on the retreat as more and more dragons pop up, and of course the defender's advantage, getting the reinforcements earlier than the attacker, is also not the greatest one to be in for bScherm. He focuses one of the dragons, and it is a very nice attempt, but the damage doesn't quite seem enough. He hopes that maybe the wolves over here might actually take some of the aggression, and maybe with some more focus fire he's going to be able to take down 2 of these dragons, but with that there are still going to be 5 dragons remaining. The wolves of Glaba also enter the fray, and this is going to be a very tough situation for bScherm to be in. There is no watchtower at the second base, so all of these workers are going to be in a tough position. The third base is definitely going to be taken down, as the third base for Glaba is going to be finished. Constructing a watchtower in it to keep it a little bit more secure when it comes to the income. It is a little bit into bScherm's favor, but I assume that that is... why would it be in bScherm's favor? That is interesting. What is not in his favor is that he is 500 gold in total behind, and he is 700 gold behind when it comes to the gold lost. This is not the best fight for a boy in the blue. These high counts of snakes are definitely starting to take a toll on to the dragons. It's not the biggest deal, but yeah, right now there are 9 dragons, and this is going to be a little bit more of a problem. Snakes are slowly going to be taken down, and this is no issue for these dragons. One dragon does get taken down, no more focus fire on another dragon though. They are slowly regenerating health as well. It's not great to see if you are bScherm. More wolf dens are also being constructed for Glaba, getting a bigger ground army over here as well. But the army in the air is already tough enough. Watchtowers are definitely not going to be in Glaba's favor. These are very tricky to deal with, but I believe with 8, pretty much 7 dragons at this point, that he can definitely take down the watchtowers relatively quickly. Animal testing lab is on the way. The construction has stopped though, so it has been delayed. There is no animal testing lab for Glaba, which is interesting to see. He's just going to try and push and get some more army in. But this is not the best engagement. He will still deal plenty of damage, but I feel like he should just go ahead and try and target the watchtower here. Because snakes also deal less damage versus flying units. And even if he doesn't take out the watchtower, it definitely wants to pull back his dragons every time, because of the possibility to just drag the snakes with him, get out of range of the watchtower, and then take down the snakes that way. These wolves don't have the highest amount of health, will be taken down by the watchtower relatively quickly, and also by the snakes, but every damage that the wolves take, the dragons don't. So this is a slow but steady takedown of a boy in the red. 2 more dens are being finished, 4 wolves at a time pop out, more dragons are in production to replenish his dragon army down here. It is 9 dragons with 2 on a very low health. He's going to try and take down the workers on this side. The fireballs deal some AoE damage. Let's see if it's going to be enough to actually take down the boy in the red. Third base of glaba is finally up and running, so he is 300 gold a minute ahead. And he's slowly but steadily extending his lead. Going to take down all of the workers here. One worker goes down. And now, will he actually be able to focus down some of these? Because a lot of them are on low health, but not a lot of them are actually going down. 2 dragons end up dying to the snakes. Not amazing, but if you look at the count, 15 workers in total have been going down. And after that, bScherm is only 6 workers behind, so not that much, to be honest. bScherm is 2 watchtowers at the third, but there's nothing at the third to actually fight for. More wolves enter the fray, more dragons are going to enter the battle, and I think that bScherm is close to stopping this match. Still, the wolves, though, are going to be taken down very quickly. The watchtower is pretty much being ignored. It's not actually going to be taken down. These dragons take a lot of damage. But I feel like it's just going to be a little bit too much. The dragons are now going to overrun all of these snakes. There's almost nothing remaining for bScherm to attack the sky. 7 snakes in total and a watchtower. So far, do manage to push it back once more. But another dragon over here is standing still. 2 more dragons are flying in the way. In the meantime, also another... Well, now it gets added to the field. More dragons are being... more wolves are being added to the force as well, and this is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger of a death ball. It's 117 supply versus 42 and 48 now, because 3 more snakes are in production, but this, I believe, is going to be the final push. More dragons roll in, more wolves roll in, everything is going to be taken down. And even with the 1 attack upgrade for bScherm, it's just not going to be enough. Watchtower is going to be destroyed, snakes are going to be destroyed. And it's going to be GG. It's 1-0 for glaba. So at least it is not going to be a 2-0 lead for bScherm here. The fellowship has been stopped at least a little bit in its tracks. And will not walk away with a clean sweep here. Is it going to be in the favor of bScherm though? Is he going to do a reverse sweep on glaba? Or is glaba going to take the 2-0 sweep here and manage to get Team Holy back onto the board? Let's go into game number 2 and figure out what happens next. And whatever happens next will happen on the map Acadia. Within the top left hand side, having switched some colors. It is with the red pieces, glaba. Which means that if glaba is in the top left with the red pieces, then in the bottom right with the blue pieces, it has to be bScherm. bScherm this time going for a house next to his gold mine. And what is glaba going to do? So far, a house in an interesting position. It is not next to his gold mine. It is also not over here on this edge where you might expect it to be built in order to stop someone from flashing their raiders or whatever. But it seems like this is the location that glaba is chosen for. Not entirely sure why, but bScherm is definitely going for the fast construction here. Wolf Den being constructed right next to the gold mine. It is pretty much the fastest that you can build something. So bScherm looks like he's going for a very early attack. And this is even more interesting. glaba going for the Wolf Den in the initial wall off for the natural. But interesting to see why the house placement was here. Maybe it is for the extra little bit of vision over the edge here, but I'm not entirely sure. If that is the case, you would expect it to be built maybe even a little bit closer to the edge. Or maybe this is the perfect position between getting the vision and also not being able to be attacked by catapults. So maybe the SimCity is smarter than I expect. But so far, this Wolf Den is only a little bit behind, and this is interesting. The wolf should be able to pop out between the gold mine and the house over here, but this is definitely some tight building over here. bScherm going full aggressor here. Only having one den though, so it's not as aggressive as he possibly could have been. But just in case Glaba does manage to get into the base, he needs to go all the way to the back in order to see what bScherm is planning to do. Openings, apart from the building placements, are exactly the same. It is one den versus one den. And having that said, the wolf of bScherm is only slightly faster getting out there than the wolf of Glaba. Obviously, Glaba, his wolf, did not have to run through the entire base of bScherm. So in the end, it all cancels each other out. One wolf versus one wolf in the base of Glaba, one wolf versus two wolves at this point versus in the base of bScherm. Second wolf, or third wolf just now popping out for Glaba here. bScherm sees that absolutely nothing special is going on in the base. And Glaba actually not even getting into the base. It's an interesting thing for Glaba to decide. More wolves are being produced. bScherm temporarily putting a halt to it as he is starting up his natural base. Glaba himself doing the same. So far the builds are very equal. Even though bScherm has one additional worker, which can make a slight bit of difference. So far, nothing really of a difference, but every worker can be one. There's almost one wolf being taken out. Why are there so many wolves always on 1 HP, dude? It is not going to be too nice. He's not far enough for this wolf to lose vision if he goes up to the ramp, so this is going to be an interesting one to follow. He can definitely survive one additional hit though. bScherm getting himself a second wolf den, as this wolf is still on the run, healing health as quickly as he is being numbed down. A 7 worker transfer to the natural base from bScherm, very nice. Getting a little bit of a distance on the wolf, which is interesting to see. Glaba only going for a 5 worker pull here. Or 5 worker transfer, I should say. Once again, a little bit behind on workers. He is equal now, but his production is a little bit behind. bScherm is a little bit more on top of it. His wolf is also a little bit more on top of it, because Glaba did not deny the additional scout of this wolf here, and he might even be able to actually get it out if the wolves would just go around and hunt, and it might just be a little bit of a distraction tactic at this point. All of the wolves being moved over to the third leaves the door wide open for the wolves of bScherm to immediately run into the natural. Glaba does move his wolves back now, but is it going to be enough, and is it going to be in time? When it comes to the total amount of wolves, bScherm does have more wolves, but some of them are still on the way on the map. But is it going to be a good engagement or not? It seems like it's going to be pushed back relatively quickly. Nothing much that bScherm can really do here, as the wolf count is pretty much equal. It is exactly equal, actually. 3 more wolves, though, enter on the side of bScherm. Only 1 on the side of Glaba. Glaba is getting himself a workshop going, so he's probably going to get himself some catapults. But catapults, my dear Glaba, as his wolves... Why? Once more? Okay, the wolf does manage to go down. But catapults, as Glaba knows himself, do not shoot up. bScherm this time going for the fortress and going for the dragon switch. And what shoots up even less are the Gatling guns that Glaba is going for now. As far as I know, Gatling guns are not exactly great versus wolves. They are great versus werewolves, that is what I know, or at least what has been told to me. Versus the normal pack of wolves, I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, the caltrops that the Gatling guns can drop can slow down the wolves, so maybe there's a possible advantage there to maybe get a better surround on the army of bScherm, but this is not looking too good. It is pretty much equal when it comes to the wolf count on both players' parts. But so far, a lot of the wolves of Glaba have been damaged, and they are a little bit more damaged, I want to say, than bScherm's wolves. But once again, here with the defender's advantage, getting more and more reinforcements more quickly every time, is going to be able to push bScherm back to his own base. A lot of wolves of bScherm are now on low health, and Glaba's wolves, as you can see, the health bars disappearing, are slowly regenerating back to full health. And that is not what our player in the blue would like to see. However, his fortress has been finished, and he himself now is going for a double dragon lair, as he is pulling back some workers preemptively, it seems like. Maybe he does not want to show the total amount of workers that he has, at least at the natural. But has been starting a watchtower, so really hopes that he can get that up in time in order to get his defense rolling. If you go and look at the total wolf count, the army of Glaba is just bigger. Even though Glaba has a... Obviously, because his army is bigger, it feels like it's obvious that his supply is bigger, but the Gatling guns blow it up just a little bit, because there is a 5 worker advantage for a player in the blue. Doesn't quite net itself into a huge gold mining difference, but that is because of the efficiency of the miners does go down the more there are mining at one base. Watchtower though has been completed. Glaba is trying to get a watchtower in of himself, but is that going to be enough? I highly doubt it quite yet. Glaba cannot push too far, of course, but it feels like the watchtower might be able to be finished. bScherm definitely wants to not let this watchtower go through, but I think that he does not have too much of a choice. For some reason, Glaba stops chasing down these wolves. I mean, wolves obviously are close to the same speed, but I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal of not following them, of course, because you can have more pressure when it comes to the natural base. Watchtower, though, does manage to get finished, and Glaba knows that there are dragons in the area now. And with the watchtower being destroyed almost as quickly as it was built, and with the 2 dragons having nothing against them now, he can start to take down the army of Glaba. It is still a very large army though, so it's not really that straightforward for bScherm to defend this, but there are a lot of wolves back up in the north, and with the constant air support from the dragons, he might actually be slowly able to take down all of the wolves here. Maybe he wants to focus a little bit more on the Gatling guns here, trying to get rid of some of the range DPS, but with 2 more dragons entering the fray, I feel like bScherm is going to hold this relatively easily. He still has the watchtower here as well, of course, and with the additional workers being pulled and getting in there for the defense, just still allowing some worker or some wolves to run through and not blocking them off quite entirely. Does manage to just end up holding this entire fight. There is an advanced workshop being created from Glaba. Obviously, as he sees the dragons, he knows that he's going to need some ballistas. Watchtowers have been created at the 1st and 2nd base, but I highly doubt that once again it is going to be enough. There are 6 dragons on the field right now, and a 7th and an 8th being produced. And I highly doubt that this is going to be enough. I feel like this is going to be an exact mirror. Well, not necessarily an exact mirror, but it is going to be pretty much a mirror of what Glaba did to bScherm in the previous game. It's probably just going to be a slow roll into the death of Glaba. Glaba is at 650 gold in his reserves, which is not really what you'd love to see. A 2nd advanced workshop is being constructed, which is very nice, but I would have loved to see maybe an additional 1 or 2 watchtowers being constructed as well. He is making a 2nd watchtower in his main base, but I highly doubt that it's going to be enough. The workers are going to be destroyed. The advanced workshop is not going to be destroyed, but the watchtower is going to be focused. Definitely Go wants to take that down, but it does get cancelled just in time. And over here, The advanced workshop has been stopped. The production has ended. Dragons will fly over to the natural base. We'll see that there is also another watchtower here, of course, and we'll see that there's an advanced workshop here producing his first ballista. He definitely does not want to get the ballista count any higher than it needs to be. First ballista does pop out, shots are starting to be fired at the dragons. And is it going to be enough to deter bScherm for a while? So far it doesn't seem like it, but look at the dragon count that he has. He has 8 dragons ready to fight. There's a lot of fireballs being shot down, but with the repair on the ballista, it is definitely not in his favor. One dragon already goes down, a lot of damage is being dealt to the other dragons, and the repair of the ballista is actually pretty insane. A very nice hold from Glaba so far, but in the meantime there's a third base that has been finished for bScherm, and he will get to it almost completely immediately. Saturated entirely. 2 more wolf dens are on the way, so bScherm is definitely going to add on to the pressure. Second advanced workshop is going to be finished, is going to be targeted by the Dragon's Dome. Is it going to be taken down before the explosive shots are going to be finished? I expect it to be, but it is being repaired now, and there's nothing really that these dragons can do, as the double ballista is going to pop up and going to take down another one of these dragons. I don't think that there is going to be a possibility of this advanced workshop going to be taken down before the explosives shots are going to be researched, so these dragons are in a tough position. There are 3 ballistas now, which do now have the explosive shot upgrade, so he definitely does not want to clump these up, because one wrong move and it can all be the end of these dragons. Big Dragon Ball can still definitely be scary, but I feel like bScherm, as he is going to do so himself, is going for a bigger ground army now instead. His dragons are going to be done for now. The first AoE attack is going to be dealt, deals quite a bit of damage on these dragons, like 70 damage. And with the triple ballista here, it's definitely not looking good. Airship has been constructed, which gives these ballistas a little bit more maneuverability. So these ballista ships are probably going to be on the hunt for the dragons here. In the meantime, more and more wolf dens are being constructed. bScherm is at maximum supply, is building 1 more house, but I feel like he should probably build... well, he just finished 2, I see. Has been building 3 more houses, 2 more, and he is at full capacity at 150 out of 150. He's getting there pretty quickly, I have to say. But we are not quite there yet. Glaba starting to get himself a 3rd base as well, as bScherm's base has been mining long time ago. He's already mined almost 1,000 gold at his 3rd. Curious to see if bScherm is going to go for a 4th base or if he's going to completely focus on the army. He is creating 6 snakes at a time, getting himself another wolf den and creating 3 more houses just to be sure, in order to get himself to that maximum supply cap. He's even building more houses. I assume that those are all like safeguard houses, because if the houses over here get taken down, obviously you kind of still want some reserve houses to not be supply blocked, even if one house goes down. You want a little bit of that safer margin. This ballista ship is once again on the lookout for the dragons, but there is a wolf and snake army on the way. Glaba, is he prepared with his ground army? No, he is not. He only has 7 wolves. He does have 2 catapults though, and a 3rd one on the way, so it's definitely going to do plenty of damage when it comes to this beast army. But is it going to be enough? It's not going to be surrounded. Will deal shots and will deal damage to his own army right here. Having that said, his catapults and ballistas here are going to be completely locked in. It seems like, or at least these 2 catapults are just dancing with each other. Probably are able to get out of here, and yes they are. Okay, good. It seemed like they were stuck for a second. This ballista ship, if only he knew how close he would be to the dragons. but he's not there quite yet. bScherm in the meantime attacking the third base of Glaba. No counteroffensive from a player in the red. He just simply does not have the army in order to do so. Catapults are being dropped. Is it going to actually help him? So far, not really. It is just not enough army. It seems like snakes are going to target the third base of Glaba. It will be destroyed relatively quickly. Or is it actually going to be destroyed? He is going to be quite distracted by the army. This is going to be interesting though. With the ballistas being on the south, the dragons can go ahead into the natural base. The two ballistas though are going to be pulled back and are going to be dropped. Will they deal the explosive shot damage? Yes, they will. It is a little bit of a, not necessarily lackluster amount of damage, but it is a little bit less than you would expect. Ballistas once again still going to be dropped. Are there going to be more explosive shots being shot? 3 ballistas are here. They can deal quite some damage. All of these dragons can easily go down. And more dragons do go down. Wolves continue to fight, but they are not able to actually take down the army of Glaba here. Catapult being healed. The ballistas once again trying to follow the dragons. And look at these dragons. There used to be so many more, but all of them have been, or most of them have been completely obliterated by the ballistas. bScherm in the meantime did finish a 4th base, also finished an animal testing lab, there we go, is going for the attack upgrades. First one to get some upgrades going. Dragons once again getting back into the 3rd base, trying to destroy the worker that was making the watchtower. So far, job well done. And a lot more wolves are here trying to enter the fray. You can definitely take on this army, especially if Glaba's catapults take down Glaba's own wolves. But here are the ballistas. The ballistas deal a lot of damage to these dragons, excuse me. And the catapults once again just dealing more and more damage against Glaba himself. The catapults here are going to be surrounded, or at least one of them is going to be surrounded. Not a great position to be in, not able to pick up the other catapult here. So it does manage to lose one. But the wolves, knowing that the mechanical units are not fast movers, are going to walk around over and over and over, going to keep tabs on every single position that Glaba could be going. In the meantime, base number 5 and base number 6 are going to be constructed for bScherm. This is a 3 times gold mining efficiency. Like, there is triple the gold being mined. The main base being mined out for a boy in the red leaves him on 1 base and just 2 base if he can manage to get the workers out there. But this is just painful. 3 times the amount of golds being mined per minute. There's 3,500 gold ahead already. The gold lost so far is relatively equal, but if bScherm would not have lost all of his dragons, and probably will lose some more dragons in the near future, it would have been so much better for him. It's the first time I've seen someone outmining another player 3 times though, so that is definitely going to be interesting. This watchtower, well, was going to be attacked, but it feels like Glaba just realized in what predicament he would be in and how far he would actually be behind, and manages and decides to GG out and let bScherm take this victory. And having that said, even if bScherm would not have won with that push, he had a 2nd animal testing lab going for attack upgrades as well, and he was transitioning into 3 workshops, so the following push from bScherm would be absolutely devastating. But we didn't get to that point. Glaba GG'd out a little bit earlier than that, and did not let it go that far, so we are on 1-1 at this point. And it is time to get into the deciding game and see who's going to take the victory for his team. And the deciding game of this series is going to be played on Xenos. Let's see what these players have in store for us now. On the bottom left hand side with the red pieces, it is going to be our boy Glaba. And with the blue pieces on the top right hand side, it is going to be bScherm. Now a little bit of a catch up on the last game. In the end, bScherm managed to get another animal testing facility going, and also made a transition into triple workshops. So even as Glaba did not GG out, at that point, the next push would be absolutely devastating. Having that said though, it is 1-1. Deciding in game 3 is going to be done over here. And we see bScherm going for a wolf den once more. Definitely preferring the wolf opening over here, as Glaba himself decides to go for a wolf opening as well. So, what is going to happen in this game? You tell me. A worker is on the move out. And it looks like it is going over here, because that's where the screen of Glaba was going. And is it going to be a proxy? Or is it going to be just a relatively simple scout? I highly doubt that it is going to be a simple scout though. And that it is going to be a proxy, but so far we have not actually seen too many of those. Wolf Den of Glaba is finished. First wolf is in production. The den of bScherm has been finished for a few seconds now. But here we go. The second den on the way. Is this going to be a normal den, or is this going to be transformed into a werewolf den? That might be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. I expect it to be going to be a werewolf den. I mean, why proxy just a second den? Am I right? Maybe he is also going for an advanced workshop right next to the den if it's going to be finished. While the normal wolf den is going to be transformed into a werewolf den. But so far, we can just guess. In the meantime, the wolf of bScherm is going to make its way into the base of Glaba. Will not see anything particularly interesting going on over here. Maybe he's going to be able to see the total worker count and be like, oh well, maybe he's one behind in his main base. But apart from that, unless he actually keeps tabs on that, there's not that much that looks odd about Glaba's opening. Wolf Den has been completed so far. Yes, there we go. It is going to be transformed into a werewolf den. Very nice, my dude. bScherm going for a natural expansion does so far see that Glaba is not going for a natural. Which should tell bScherm that something fishy might be going on. Werewolf Den is going to be made. There is no advanced workshop going to be constructed here. Just normal wolves being rushed into bScherm's face. Still, bScherm sees nothing odd in his own base. He's going to get himself another 2 wolf dens. Probably going to get himself more and more production to try and protect himself for whatever is coming. Because he does not know about this werewolf den. But he definitely knows that something is coming. He knows that it's not going to be dragons because he did scout that there is no fortress on the way. So he might expect that it's going to be werewolves, or maybe if it's not going to be werewolves, he might expect a proxy workshop. And maybe some Gatling guns to be running into his base relatively shortly. Having that said though, Glaba going for the engagement does have the overhead when it comes to the total wolf count. 1 wolf once again on 1 health. These wolves just keep getting away with it. It is quite tough to see, but at this point bScherm can produce 3 wolves at a time. While Glaba is only going for 1 werewolf here. Interesting to see that it is rallied right outside of the werewolf den and not rallied straight in front of the natural base. So I assume that there might be a little bit more of a sneaky plan here, but he might just... yeah, there we go. Now he moves the waypoint to in front of the natural base. And Glaba, with not having that insane of an economy, while still being relatively-ish equal with bScherm, will now have the upper hand when it comes to the army. bScherm immediately pulls back when he sees the werewolves and knows exactly what is up now. And he is going to push like hell. bScherm got himself a 4th den, which will be up in a second, so his production will definitely be up there. And bScherm immediately is going to try and find the werewolf den and go and take it down. Glaba, though, with a watchtower at the natural base of bScherm, is going to try and push it to the death. And will bScherm actually... oh no! bScherm! Oh, you were so close, dude. It is literally the next block. It's right here. It's... oh my god, okay. That is absolutely devastating. bScherm, I feel for you. Definitely going to get himself an advantage when it comes to the units, though. Does not produce any at the moment as he's making himself a workshop. Probably going to get himself some Gatling guns to try and counteract the werewolves here. But 2nd werewolf has arrived. 3rd werewolf is almost finished. The natural base is almost taken down. In the meantime, bScherm going to run into the main base of Glaba. Is it going to be enough? Well, a watchtower is going to be constructed. If Glaba can keep bScherm busy for even just a little bit, then I feel like this is going to be GG. No units are being made. There is a watchtower for a boy in the blue, but is it going to be enough? These werewolves can take it down quite easily. First smash onto the workers, and once again more and more werewolves are on the way. And the 3rd werewolf for some reason is once again back into the main base. Wolf Den is going to be taken down on the side of Glaba, but is it going to matter that much? The watchtower is going to be destroyed by the werewolves and absolutely no damage is being dealt by them. One werewolf has almost been taken down. A Gatling gun finally pops out and will slowly go ahead and take down the werewolves here. Glaba going to get himself a watchtower in construction as well to try and block off all of the workers here. So far it is looking pretty good in his favor. 3rd werewolf still at the werewolf den. I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of that would be, but all of the workers over here are slowly and steadily going to be taken down. 10 workers have been killed so far. Gatling gun has been going to take down. Another Gatling gun does spawn, but is it going to be enough? It doesn't feel like it. The watchtower is going to deal some more damage to some of these wolves. We'll manage to take one of them down, but the watchtower will be taken down at the natural base. The workers over here not going to be able to do anything. bScherm does not have any income while Glaba is still mining away. More wolves are just camping at his base. The 3rd werewolf is finally on the way. Another werewolf is going to be in production, but he does not have the supply in order to create it. But it feels like Glaba has this in his pocket, and it feels like bScherm will figure out that the werewolf den is at this location and that he actually missed it by just a single block here. And there it goes. He finally finds it, being just a little bit short. But with 3 werewolves in his base and a watchtower being constructed and almost going to be finished completely, seems like there's nothing that bScherm can do. bScherm not having any workers either and not having enough gold to construct a worker is just not ready to actually lose this game. He does not want to GG out. Is going to try his best to do anything that he can but with these 3 werewolves and a watchtower in his main base, and once again, no gold for any workers, it feels like this is just going to be more and more practice for him to get some micro practice in. But yeah, it is pretty much game over. bScherm is pretty much as dead as can be. Glaba, for some reason, does have a 900 gold bank, which is not a great thing. I mean, obviously, he doesn't really have that much to do. He's already pretty much won this game, but it would be nice to see him get into some more production himself as well. With the Gatling guns going down, with the wolves going down, bScherm finally GG's. And Glaba will take the 2-1 victory. And with that 2-1 victory, Team Holy has stopped the Fellowship in stomping everyone just a little bit. The Fellowship will only get 1 map score and get 1 point, while Team Holy will get 2 maps and a total of 2 points added to their tally. Slowly trying to close the gap to Team Mderg. And maybe if in the next game Team Mderg can take the victory over Team Pro League with a clean sweep, it might actually mean that there is only 1 point between the Fellowship and Mderg for spot number 1. And that would also mean that Team Pro League would have additional points when it comes to their rankings as well. Having that said though, that is going to be it for this series, so GG well played to both of these players, and especially to Glaba taking down the giants that are the Fellowship. I hope you liked this series and this cast. If you did, of course, feel free to hit the thumbs up button and obviously let us know in the comments, and as well let us know in the littlewargame.com lobby chat, or join the Discord and let us know over there what you think of this tournament so far. If you do not want to miss any of the future Pro League 6 coverage, feel free to hit the subscribe button and also check out the other content creators as well, because this tournament is being cast by many different people from the community, and there are a lot of viewpoints and a lot of pieces of information that are very good to absorb. So definitely check those out as well. But that is going to be it for me for now, for this series at least, and I hope to see you in the next one. So until then, have a great day, my dudes.